Well, if you're looking for a job, you may have come across the term September surge. That refers to the idea that hiring picks up in the month of September, but there's data out there that paints a different picture. For more on this, let's bring in Mandi Woodruff-Santos, Yahoo Finance contributor and co-host of the Brown Ambition podcast. So, Mandi, let's start with that term, September surge. Is it all a myth?
Yeah. Listen, it's basically a myth if you look at the data, right? But data rarely is always the same as anecdotal evidence, right? But BLS data, according to the Muse, doesn't actually show any major lift in September. In fact, June, I think because a lot of managers are trying to get the heck out of the office before their summer vacations, is the month with the most hiring on average. But September, not so much. What I want people to understand, though, is just because there's not some, big headline making surge in September, it is pointing towards some lift toward the end of the year, which I think also makes sense because managers, again, are wanting to get out before the holidays. They're also finalizing their budgets for the new year in Q4. So whether or not the surge exists or doesn't exist, I do think that after the summer break's over, people are back post Labor Day. It is a great time as a job seeker or as an employee wanting new offers to be, taking some steps to get yourself noticed by great opportunities out there.
So, Mandi, how do you do that if you're a job applicant, you're looking to stand out against the masses? What are a couple steps or a couple of things you can do to better position yourself?
I was just on a coaching call with a client earlier, and I can never say this enough. It doesn't matter if you are incredible at what you do. If no one knows how incredible are you, it's like, did a tree fall in the forest if no one heard it? You can't be the best kept secret. You've got to get yourself out there, whether it's by, redesigning your LinkedIn to focus on your core strengths, your core talents, to attract the kind of jobs that you want by sharing your activities, sharing your awards, your accolades, the work that you do, and connecting with your network so that they know what you're up to. You can't be the best kept secret. So put yourself out there. All right. And then from there, I just want to tell people to don't just wait for a certain time of year. Always be looking, always be passively job searching, and think about your specific industry. If you're in an industry where things ramp up in a certain quarter or season, then focus on, being prepared by then, but also use your time wisely. Think about, how can I take steps to, whether it's upskill, take on some new responsibilities and contributions to really beef up my resume so I can even be more appealing to hiring managers in the future? What can you do now that can help move the needle down the line?
Mandi, there's still a lot of debate, I imagine, within companies about remote versus in-person work, maybe hybrid too. Yeah. We got that headline a few days ago that Zoom was calling on their employees to go back to the office, which, maybe a bit of irony given that their product is used for remote work. How are companies thinking about this now? And, to what extent is that critical in attracting talent, the flexibility?
Right. I honestly wish there were more debate about it. It doesn't seem like employers are really much listening to what employees want, because if they were, I'll tell you, they never would be going back to the office full time. I am heartened to see that although we are, of course, seeing this big surge, this big uptick in companies requiring workers to come back in the office, that at least we're in this like hybrid middle ground space where a lot of companies are not saying 5 days a week, full force, 3 days, maybe being flexible. But absolutely, if you're a company who's in a really competitive market and demand for, workers with the skills that you need is really high and you want to attract some talent, just offer 100% remote work and say that it's permanent. And I promise you, you will have people banging down your door looking for those opportunities.
Mandi, you have a great pulse through your clients just on who's hiring, who's not. I'm curious to get your perspective on an industry basis. Where are you seeing, or I guess what industries have the most opportunities right now?
Well, let me just tell you, I went on maternity leave in May. And while I was out, several of people in my community who had been long-term unemployed, I'm talking since December, even earlier last year, one who works in food and beverage and one who works in beauty and hair brands, both, one of them had a full job offer. One's about to get one. So jobs are still being offered. the women that I work with who are in tech and have very tech specific roles still are in a position where a lot of companies are not hiring. They've just had major layoffs. And even if they haven't had layoffs, tech leadership is being super cautious right now. So those are the trends that I'm seeing, just that there are bright spots. Women I know have been getting raises where they work and getting jobs in their sector. But yeah, if you're in the land of Silicon Valley, you're not seeing a ton of incredible opportunities right now. But I'm going to tell you what I tell my Mandi money makers, which is to stay strong, stay optimistic. Your time is coming. Long-term unemployment is so tough mentally and psychologically, but you got this. Okay, it will not be forever. It is just a season.
You're speaking to a lot of people out there. Some good advice. Mandi Woodruff-Santos, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.